All right, well, here we are. I'm Sam.
And I'm Terra.
And this is Sometimes We Like Stuff.
Sometimes we like stuff.
Maybe today. All right, so what are we discussing?
It is our sacred duty to defend the world, and it's what I'm going to do.
Possibly fight in this.
Fight? We use our principles, although I am not opposed to engaging in a bit of fisticuffs should the occasion arise.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
The new Wonder Woman. What did you think?
I don't know. Just okay. I mean, it was watchable, but I kind of didn't like it.
I just don't think that just because there is like a badass, like female character, it's necessarily a feminist movie. And I think that so many people are so quick to label it that.
Yeah, and applaud it. I mean, I think that it's nuanced, but this movie is not like in one category or the other. I feel like it is making strides towards being a movie that I would want a child of mine to watch, for instance, and get an idea of, what women are capable of. Did I like the movie? I don't know. A friend of mine said that I should not be critiquing comic book movies if I don't like
because you don't like comic book movies.
Yeah, I'm not qualified enough because I'm not a comic book nerd.
So, okay.
Or even
what would qualify you to critique this then? If you liked comic books?
I don't know. I think it's just a typical, dude thing. Like, here's the reasons why you're not qualified. You're not qualified. You're never.
No. So if you liked comic book movies specifically, or if you liked comic books, would that be enough?
I don't know. Maybe either. I mean, they might be enjoyable, like, to some people.
A lot of times,
and if you lower your standards, then yeah, it's watchable. But is it like
a lot of times they're long, drawn out, like action scenes that last like 30 minutes, and they're so boring. So at least this movie didn't do that. I appreciated that.
I did not like the ones that I did see. They were
the action scenes.
They were like the slow-mo at the beginning. Oh, so boring. I mean, I guess it was like novel that there was like dudes on a beach coming at them, and they're like the clash of the two different levels of technology. So there's some elements that I found a little bit intriguing, but overall I feel like they could cut that out, cut it down. It would have been a much better scene for Sam, from my viewing.
You're a man.
Yeah. I mean, do I not look like one?
So audience viewing, perhaps.
The first time Wonder Woman sees like the dude, right? I forget his name even. What's his name?
I don't know. He's like a hot guy in an airplane.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, the first thing I said was, is this going to be a love interest? And if so, this is going to be so boring.
I mean,
why? Why does there always have to be? No,
I know.
You could tell right away that that's what was going to happen. And the first thing she says to him is, "You're a man," and he responds like, "Don't I look like one?"
Yeah.
Like his first response is like insecurity with his gender presentation. I thought that was really...
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
His first concern,
like, who are you, random woman?
Yeah, his first concern is like, wait, obviously, I look like a man, right? Yeah, that's his first. That's his first issue.
Yeah, he's insecure. Yeah, it's sad when that's just a de facto storyline that hot dude, hot woman, make them bone, like...
I just wish for once there didn't have to be a love storyline. Like, why does there have to be like a love interest all the time? Like,
because writers don't see women as characters, unless they're attached to a man. I don't know.
Diana, princess of them as
Prince, Diana Prince.
I don't think the fan base really like requires that even.
That's
I don't
true.
think anybody watching this movie or anyone who would ordinarily enjoy this movie would be upset if there was no love interest whatsoever.
They didn't even show the sex, so like it's not like they had a sex scene because the only sex they had was like behind closed doors, right? Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even matter. I mean, just
But I'm just saying, like, that's, if you were gonna say, like, this is the why they put it in there to show them bone for more skin. I mean, did the dude even take his shirt off?
No, I think that just directors.
Oh yeah, he
really
did
think,
in the cave, right?
I think directors really think that's what people need, though. Like that's what
Yeah,
people
it's
want.
because they have to go against the grain, you know, like of the typical story arc, and this wasn't a very daring movie in that regard. So that's kind of sad.
Is there anything else you want to show me?
The whole relationship between them did bring up a lot of issues online. People were discussing about consent. Did you read any of that stuff
No.
or hear about? Yeah, because she has this naivete about human relationships, right? Like she knows a lot about the human body and like history, I think. She like read a lot of books and stuff on her Amazon island, but like doesn't understand like dating or marriage. And I mean, it is kind of murky. Like she's like, I don't know what, you know, why would I be weird about you sleeping next to me? Remember that? Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't understand like
why
courtship?
why he didn't think it was appropriate to sleep next to her.
Yeah. She feels really
Because
safe.
she didn't automatically connect sleeping next to each other with
Yeah,
sex.
yeah, because she feels really safe around him because
Right.
she doesn't know what he's capable of, I guess.
Well, when you're a woman that's never been around men and has been raised around other
Yeah,
women your whole
she's
life,
got a lot of confidence.
Yeah, you don't feel automatically unsafe around men the way that we do from
Yeah.
being around men
Yeah, you have to.
in the regular world. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
What the hell is this thing?
the lasso of Hestia compels you to reveal the truth.
God, it's really hot.
What is your mission?
Whoever you are in more danger than you think.
What is your mission?
I am a spy! I'm a spy. I'm a spy.
I mean, for exploration, she does seem like an experimenter. She doesn't understand male-female relationships, and therefore she can't consent to like boning him.
I mean, she
Or that it's murky.
can.
It's just
It's
murky.
just the fact that she is not automatically afraid of sleeping next to him says a lot about
What she, yeah,
just the society that she was raised in and the fact that she doesn't feel scared
yeah.
right away being around men, you know?
I think it helps her.
No, I think she still, she can. I think she still can consent.
I think so. Plus,
Normally.
like, she seems like an experimenter. She's never seen him. She'd probably boned lots of chicks.
Just because she's not,
You know,
like,
she's not related to all of them, right? I mean, she got her aunt and her mom, but like, there's a bunch of other ladies
see,
on the island, right? And she's talking about how like men aren't necessary for female pleasure. So I assume that
is
she's
it
probably-
implied that the women on the island are all fucking though?
Yeah.
Because it might be implied, but it's never like explicitly said. So I feel like the writer of Wonder Woman like wants us to think
It's ambiguous, but
that they're all like lesbianing together,
like-
but they're not like really gonna explicitly say that that's what's happening.
unless you're trying to imply that they're like asexual, like they're gonna bone.
Yeah.
They're gonna bone. I mean, like they're on the island by themselves. They don't age.
Do they not?
Do you notice how she was a child and then she gets older and then like did they cut to her mom later or something like that who's like also still the same age? I figure they had some kind of like magic serum or something that maybe in the cave. I don't know, but they are they're definitely boning. So maybe she's like had a lot of female like bed partners, and like if you're presented with a male species member subject exhibit this exhibit of maleness specimen, that's a male specimen, then she can like have a little experiment, see what it's like.
Have you never met a man before? I mean, what about your father?
I had no father. I was brought to life by Zeus.
Well, that's neat.
But I kind of wish the writers would at least either just like come out with it and say that they're having relationships, and maybe just like
About the ladies on the island.
right,
Yeah.
like it's just so ambiguous, and it's just so they all live there together, and the writer doesn't really ever expand on like who lives with who.
I
or,
really
what
would
their
like a
family situations
backstory.
are.
I would like more about life on the island besides the fighting.
Like you're expected to just believe that they're all
there's a lot of stuff-
fucking,
yeah.
but there's never any like couples that are.
Yeah, there's no couples. There's no
Like,
marriage.
there should be couples. There should be at
Maybe
least
they're
like.
polyamorous.
Okay.
Just
well,
like-
then describe it. Like,
Yeah, no,
they
I would
should-
have liked to see a backstory about the island.
The
I would like to
writer
see a
should
lot. I would like to
actually-
see, you know, before and after the movie. I would have liked to see more of that. Like, she's like an archivist at the end or something. Like, she's got a job. She looks the same. Oh yeah. Also, in the end of the movie, it's like 30 years later, and she's still the same. You know, looks the
Yes,
same.
she
So I think
didn't
she doesn't
age.
age. She doesn't age.
Well, that's also lazy writing. Then they should explain why.
They
that
should
happens.
explain why. It's 100 years later. She's still. Oh, jeez.
Alright, let's cut.
Cut. Oh, God.
Oscar, gross. So we were talking about.
What were we talking about before the fart?
The
No, I was talking about how much money it made. It made a shitload
okay.
of money. It's actually fueling discussions like, wow, are female directors like competent, capable people? You know what? Like, just imagine how shitty it would have been if a dude directed it. That's what I'm saying. Like, it probably is a lot better. Like, yeah, her costume's kind of, you know, like a little impractical and sexy.
I didn't think it was like explicitly feminist, but it wasn't anti-feminist either. It was
Yeah.
just a movie to me. It wasn't
It wasn't a step backwards.
it didn't really like trigger any like feminist or anti-feminist feelings.
Yeah, it was pretty
whatsoever.
neutral, but
Yeah.
it was a female-centered movie. Yeah, so do you see that James Cameron quote? Like, I mean, not that I really
What
like.
could possibly be his rationale for saying that it was a step backwards?
Says the self-congratulatory backpatting Hollywood's been doing over Wonder Woman has been so misguided. She's an objectified icon, and she is just male Hollywood doing the same old thing. Then he starts waxing on about how great Sarah Connor is from his movie.
Saying Wonder Woman is a step backwards is a stretch. Like, I don't think it's explicitly
asked
like
you, really?
feminist.
You know?
It's not exactly.
Like,
Hello.
the
That
fuck-
too.
Well, I guess a reporter asked him maybe.
Well, like, how about if you're a dude, just don't weigh in on what's feminist and what's not feminist? Like,
You know?
just let us have something.
Diana. Fighting does not make you a hero.
What if I promise to be careful?
I'm going, Mother. If you choose to leave, you may never return. Who will I be if I stay?
What are you?
You will soon find out.
Actually, like, the character of Diana in the movie was actually more interesting than any of the male characters, which I can't even remember.
There's little side characters. They had like little, you know,
I
the drunk
still
guy.
cannot remember. That guy was interesting.
The drunk guy,
the
Samir.
the little militia that they had. Those guys were interesting.
Yeah.
The first villain they had, where
Oh, the evil
we thought
guy,
he was
yeah.
Ares
Yeah,
at first,
yeah, the-
and he kept like sniffing like poppers. And
Oh
just,
yeah,
like, it wasn't communicated to the audience what powers he was getting. He would just like
he could
like
smash
sniff
stuff, and he turned stony faced.
scream, "Ugh," and like yell.
Then he could fight Wonder Woman because otherwise he would just get crushed by her. You know, who is it? Zeus Bone to her mom, the Amazon lady.
So she's supposed to be Zeus's daughter. Like in actual mythology, like you can't have Diana killing Ares because like there has to be a god of war.
So I was not down with the backstory. But I would like to see more about life on the island. Like, how do they get food? How are relationships? Where do they live? You know, are they on like? Do they have like huts with like, you know, with like with a matriarchy? How do they not age? What
It was, like,
technology?
super unexplained,
How do they have
the
all
way
these
they
books?
lived.
Do they have libraries? I didn't see a fucking library yet. Diana knew all this shit. She's the only child on the island. Yeah.
Apparently they can't have children because you can't like sexually reproduce if there's no men. So
Yeah.
her mother just really wanted a child so badly that she like shaped this daughter out of clay.
That didn't happen though. It turns out Zeus fucked her. Made a demigod.
How can a woman fight in this? Ooh.
Who is this young woman?
She's my,
Diana, Princess of the
Prince, Diana Prince.
were some parts in the middle, like, that were just, like, so boring that, like, stretched out.
Oh, God. Do you remember the part where she goes to the parliament and then they were like, a woman in here? Get her out of here. And then they just keep, like, hitting you over and over again, like, boys club, get out. And she's like, I'm oblivious.
There were, like, a lot of parts in the middle that were, like, long and boring and just would not end. And I was kind of, like, mentally just, like, tuned out for, like, a few minutes.
Yeah, I like the fish out of water comedy, though, like getting her dressed and stuff, and her like, this is stroking me.
How can a woman possibly fight in this?
Fight? We use our principles, although I am not opposed to engaging in a bit of fisticuffs should the occasion arise.
This is scratchy, you know? Like, I think that they could have made a whole movie about that. Like, Diana, go to
That
London.
stuff is always cute.
It's cute.
Seeing somebody, like, out of their element and, like, trying to do things and
I
be part of a
enjoyed
different
that part.
culture. She, like, runs down the street and she's like, a baby! And she, like, almost, like, attacks somebody's baby.
Yeah, that's
that was
cute.
cute.
That was cute. I like that part.
Yep, that's not gonna work. Please put the sword down, Diana. Diana.
Let me try it by myself.
After you, sir.
I would like to learn more about her after the war too. Yeah,
Just more about her in general, about, like, being a person.
Yeah, less questing. You know, more backstory, less questing.
More about her culture and, like, the people that she grew up with and the culture she grew up with. It didn't feel believable because they didn't, like, expand on it.
Yeah, I think that, like, the thing about these comic book and quest movies where, like, they're just written really simple. I think it's easy to write that kind of thing. Like, character gets involved, character decides to make a change, character leaves their homeland and enters into the foreign land where they must battle all kinds of, and they get a ragtag group, and then they have some major setback, and then they win. You know, like. That's easy storytelling. And sometimes, like, getting away from the old storylines creates, like, fresh ideas, and I think it makes it more enjoyable. That's why I don't like a lot of these movies, because they're so fucking common. Like, they're so, you know what I'm saying? Just repetitive.
Ultimately, I was most interested in Diana as a person and Diana's family and where she came from and the culture she came from, and I wanted to see
even Chris Pine's family.
more
Go back
of
to see
that.
what he's like, you know?
Who the fuck is he? I
Did they explain
literally
that?
did not even remember his name until we started doing this tonight.
Ooh, I think
because
it's
he was
like-
that forgettable. It's like, make him be a character.
Trevor. It's something Trevor or Mr. Trevor.
They
Trevor's
should have
his
let
first
him
name.
be a character. Let him be a person. He was
That's what I
the
know.
most
Give us more.
generic man I've ever seen.
How'd that Native
and-
American dude get over there, too? The chief, you know?
Oh, God. And let's talk about how they have the Native American character and they just call him Chief.
Yeah, just call him Chief. He has no name.
I do like when they get, like, the motley crew together of people.
Stay here. I'll go ahead.
It's
To
kind of
go
cute
and-
sometimes. It's kind of got some fun.
I like the
some
side characters.
laughs.
They're always fun. Like, the side characters were
like
fun.
Etta. You like the? You didn't you like the?
Etta Candy was cool. I loved her.
Etta.
Why don't I meet you back at the office, and meanwhile I'll take this for safekeeping?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
You gotta put the sword down, Diana, please.
It doesn't go with the outfit.
At all. Put the sword down, first of all.
Promise me you will protect it with your life.
Yes. No.
I loved her.
She was fun.
Yeah, and her name is priceless. Come on, Etta Candy. But I just don't like the fact that the main characters don't feel like people.
Yeah, because they spend half the movie fighting. They don't have time for backstory.
You think? The boys in the trenches called her Dr. Poison.
In a familiar comic book kind of trope, the bad guy always has to be disfigured somehow.
Yeah.
And have, like, something, like, wrong with her face.
I like how they show her on a bulletin board. Like, look, she used to be hot, and now she's so ugly. You know, like.
And it's like, that's supposed to be, like, the reason why she's, like, so angry
Yeah,
and,
so
like, wants to,
angry
like, hurt
because-
people. It's just so boring. I'm just so
boring.
over it. I'm so over
Dr.
that storyline.
Poison. And, like, she's supposed to be this revered scientist. Yeah, they, like, still talk down to her. They're just like, Dr. Poison, get your business. You know, like, they're still trying to intimidate her and stuff. Yeah, Dr. Poison. There's a lot of dudes, all of them, talking about how hot Wonder Woman was. Diane, the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. You know, like, that was just
Which ones?
All of them. They all said that. Like, where'd you get her from? You know, like every time like she's introduced to a new character.
Oh, even when she had
Samir.
glasses on? Even when she had glasses that was supposed to make her less pretty?
That's
Do you remember
pretty.
when she put the glasses on?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Just take a shortcut, writers. Just take a fucking shortcut, you know? Just don't make up anything new. But yeah, you want to talk about the costumes? Like, she did wear pants and boots, which I thought was cool, because you can run in pants and some boots. But they were wedges. Like, she has to be up on her ass, like, you know, tits out, ass out. Like, I hate heels. I hate them.
So even though she had boots on, they still had to have like a little bit of a wedge to
Yeah,
them.
they had a wedge to them, which is not good for running. It's not good for balance. Like, if you're trying to be athletic, like, heels are definitely, they're, what do they call it, ornamental, you know? And then,
Well, on the
and then
island.
also, well, yeah, but yeah, like,
Look what
even,
they were wearing on the island. They all had like these leather skirts on. In ancient Greece, I guess like men and women all wore like kind of like a skirt. But I was just like, why? If you're in this like whole like female dominated society, like why would you like conform to these like beauty standards of always having like a skirt on when you're
Why
trying
does
to like fight and do stuff? I don't know.
when she makes her own, like, fighting costume to go fight in the war, why does she wear a strapless bustier? You worn a strapless dress before? I'm sure you're like pulling up those fucking straps
The whole time.
You go to a dance and you're like, I remember once I saw a picture of my friend, like, for his prom pictures, and then his girlfriend's like pulling up her dress
In the picture,
and he was like, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to wear one of those, and he's like, yeah, she was doing that all night. I'm like, yeah, no shit, you're always pulling those fucking
So why would
up.
you choose to wear that when you're on an island full of women
Or
and
when you're
there's
fighting
no,
a
like,
war,
men to
like,
impress?
just straps help. They help hold your clothes up. It's not that bad.
I don't think it's necessarily anti-feminist because the character is beautiful either, or sexy. Like, it's okay to be both feminist and sexy and beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. So that's not my issue.
I think
with
it's
it.
sexist to assume that you can't be strong
Right.
and intelligent
And both, exactly.
and have your own movie, you know, because you're hot, you know.
Right.
You
No,
can be
I don't
both.
think it makes it any less feminist because she's beautiful or because she's sexy. No,
I don't
that's
like how,
fine.
like, they just constantly remind her of that. Like, it becomes part of her character when all the dialogue about her is like, oh, here's Diane.
The most prevalent thing about her character is always when she sees people in need, she's always
Yeah.
like, you have to help them. Like,
To the war.
Well, technically the war's that way, but we gotta go this way first.
I'm a little bit skeptical of female characters being given this nurturing, like, martyr, like,
Yeah.
You know.
It's like, it's a trope. You know,
where
we're gonna save
where
everyone.
their biggest motivation is like to help others, and that's fine. It's a good thing. It's a great characteristic. It's a good thing
I
to
think
be.
like that's what all superheroes have at their core, though, don't they?
All of them, the men too.
Not all of them, but some of them are more conflicted than others. Some of them are like total dumbass, like save the world types. Like, you very rarely have like a Jessica Jones or someone who just like, fuck this shit. Like, do I have to? You know, like.
I'm going, Mother.
If you choose to leave, you may never return.
Who will I be if I stay?
A lot of them are just like, I must do it, you know?
I would like her to have some kind of other motivation, like something that.
Well, she was trying to kill, what's his name, Ares?
So I would like her to have something else that motivates her. Just because women are always
Besides love and
tasked-
saving the world, yeah.
Women are always tasked with nurturing quality.
Yeah.
If like, women don't have the nurturing kind of quality, then we're like less.
I would like to see more dudes in that role. But guys can also be weak. Or not just weak, but like nurturing and you know.
And nurturing shouldn't be
They don't
seen
have
as
to
weak,
prove their
though.
masculinity all the time. Like, you know, that
Being nurturing shouldn't be seen as weak. That's
not weak. It's right.
That's
You're
the
right.
thing.
I misspoke.
My son loves babies and loves art and loves books also, and I want to nourish like that side of him that is nurturing and that is artistic and that is empathetic, because I feel like that's who he is.
That's gonna make the world better too. If all these dudes stop tying like caring about others with like weakness and like femininity, which is like all bad. You know, like if we have a more
and all of it's undervalued.
Yeah,
So-
it's definitely undervalued. Just divorce it from, you know,
from gender altogether.
Yeah, like humans are empathetic and humans want to help each other.
The commander,
did she kill him?
She did.
Oh, he died, and then they're like, "Oh, why did the war not stop?"
I felt like he was kind of a great stand-in for a certain president that we could be talking about right now.
Oh,
that,
really? Going there, huh?
Well, if he were to just disappear,
Yeah, it's not going to change. Like,
the hatred that people
yeah,
are
the
feeling,
machine is going to keep going.
the hatred that people feel would not stop. And so I felt like when he died and Wonder Woman said, like, why are they still fighting?
Yeah.
They can stop fighting. Like, he's gone. Why are they still fighting? That was a kind of a metaphor for the fact that we direct so much hatred, so much vitriol at this figurehead when the problem is bigger.
It's definitely bigger
than just him. So if he were to disappear, the problem that we have in our society wouldn't disappear with him.
You didn't stand your ground. You didn't fight.
Because there was no chance of changing his mind.
This is Ares, and he's not going to allow a negotiation or a surrender. The millions of people you talked about, they will die.
All right, so wrapping this up.
I thought Wonder Woman was overwhelmingly okay. I didn't love it or hate it.
Yeah, it was an action movie. And, you know, that's not my favorite type of movie. It didn't have any sci-fi stuff or anything in it. Just had like ding, ding, ding. That was all.
I enjoyed most of the time that I was watching it. There were some, like, sequences that went on a little long. Not really the action sequences, just like some of the more boring, like, exposition, like she's going to Parliament and like stuff like that. It was just like it went on a little long for me. But
yeah, so I'd probably give it like, I don't know, like a 5 or 4 out of 10. 5 from being generous.
I think a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Yeah, I just like it wasn't bad. You know, it just wasn't very good. It's not my type of thing. And then all the problems that we talked about already. So, all right, well, that's it for Sometimes We Like Stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Sometimes we're overwhelmingly underwhelmed by stuff.
Underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Disappointed.
Not really.
Not disappointed.
No, not disappointed.
It was okay. 5 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll see.